Welcome back. It's another rendition of Everything Black Owned. I'm your host, Scooter. Today we got a very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Riqui and I own Insomnia Book Company, a black-owned bookstore that specializes in sharing black stories and keeping them alive through books, community, and storytelling.
Congratulations. Congratulations. So tell us, how did you get started, Riqui?
Yeah, so I got started, the idea first came to me in 2018, my last year of undergrad. So my undergrad major, I studied African American Studies at VCU.
Okay.
And during undergrad, I started my own book collection. And I really fell in love not only with the books that I was collecting, but also the feeling that I had when I would walk into a bookstore, whether it was here in Virginia or like whenever I would travel. And so I remember being on the phone with my mom and telling her, "Yeah, mom, one day I'm gonna open a bookstore." She's like, "Oh, okay." And like in my mind, it would have been like later on in life, like after I retired, maybe had a family and settled down a little
Right.
bit. And around last summer, my mom was like, "Hey, whatever happened to you, like saying you want to open a bookstore?" And I said, "It'll come later." And she said, "Well, why? Why wait?" So shout out to moms.
Shout out to mom. Shout out to mom.
So after I had that conversation with her, I just really locked in on my goals and what it is that I wanted for the bookstore, um, and just the essence that I wanted to capture to give people the same feeling that I have when I came into contact with Black literature and the same feeling that I had when I would walk into a bookstore. So, although I am online right now and I do pop up markets, the goal is to create space, physical space for people to enjoy Black literature.
Okay. Can you that's dope, by the way.
Thank
Can you
you.
describe that feeling you were talking about? What is that feeling that you get when you go into a bookstore?
Yeah, so the best way I can think of it is like, like a sneakerhead.
Okay.
You know how when a new pair of shoes are about to drop,
Yeah, they be
like,
camping out for them.
yeah, like just that build up, that feeling of like I gotta get it, I have to be here, and even just like that excitement, or just like for a sneakerhead opening a new box of shoes,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
That's the best way that I can think of describing it. It gets me excited. The child in me is like jumping up and down. I like the way books feel. I like the way they smell. I like when I open a book, especially like a used book. So I sell new books, but I also sell used books as well because I love it. And when I find a used book, sometimes they'll have like notes in it,
Okay.
highlight markings, pencil. I leave that in there for my customers because some people like myself, I like to see what people thought when they read the book. I like to see their notes, their highlights, their comments. It makes it feel like there's a conversation.
Right.
And I just enjoy that. So yeah, I get excited.
Love that.
Everything about it makes me feel good.
So you get this much excitement. I could literally feel like you get this much excitement. You was planning to wait however long to start this.
Yeah, I think for me, because I spent so much time in school, both in undergrad and grad school, um, I kind of had like a checklist
Okay.
of what my professional life would look like.
Right.
And although I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, so I opened my first business at 12.
Okay.
And then even as a teenager and a young adult, um, I've always had like side hustles. I've always had like 2 to 3 jobs. So I'd have like a main job, and then I'd always had like two side hustles on the side. But for me, after school, I just kind of had like this professional checklist of things that I thought that, I needed to do based on my degree. And so again, like my mom just sitting me down and kind of challenging me she really just kind of poured into me. My mom, she really had to make me see my work ethic. Like she really highlighted that for me. She sat me down and had a conversation like, I see you go so hard for these companies. I've watched you go so hard for these companies over the years. What if you went that hard for yourself? What if you went that hard for something that you want to do and something that you can envision? And that for me was just like wow.
Gosh,
And so yeah, I've been going that hard when it comes to getting this bookstore kicked off the ground.
that's dope.
Yeah.
That is dope. For they always talk about how we don't read enough in our communities, and that's the number one way to receive knowledge, to retain. Well, it's not the number one way, but
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
vital way to
Absolutely.
receive knowledge and to retain knowledge. So for the fact that you're doing that, congratulations and thank you. Like
Yeah,
that's really dope.
no
Can you
doubt.
talk to me about some of your biggest inspirations?
Yeah. As far as like in business
It's
or
business, life, just who inspires you?
yeah.
Like, why do you do this?
Um who inspires me? My mom for sure. Like
Shout out to mama.
I go back to her. She's the smartest person that I know. Her hustle is unmatched.
Mm,
And so she truly inspires me to it's almost as if she's like set the pathway for me.
okay.
And it is also my belief that children are an improvement on the design of their parents. And so, you know, with everything that she's done, I'm just like, how can I make her proud? Like, how can I, not a one up sort of a thing, but
Mm,
more so like, how can I show her that like everything that she's done for me and everything that she's instilled in me has not been wasted. And so that for me is just like, I feel like as children, we oftentimes think to ourselves, like, how can I show thanks or show homage to what our parents have done for us?
right.
And for me, it's by going hard, it's by showing up and applying everything that she's instilled in me. So that's who inspires me. Um, I also look at, I also look at some of the, well-known um, business people that look like us that are famous. I won't name any specific names.
You can.
Um, but just
Yeah.
like, some of the top people, like, I look at the hustle of like Jay-Z, Nipsey Hussle, Oprah, and regardless of what people may think of them, you can't deny the hustle. My favorite, Kanye West, right? Like, I often listen to a lot of their motivational speeches,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of their motivational words, and they really have done just a good job of, I don't know if I said, but like Tyler Perry.
Okay.
Yeah,
You didn't say
like,
him.
yeah, like, you gotta respect the hustle,
If
and
nothing else.
yeah, and so I really admire them, and those are people that I look to, and there are a few other people as well, um, people that don't look like us that I can appreciate the hustle as well, like Steve Jobs,
Absolutely.
Simon Sinek, John Maxwell. Like those are people whose books, yeah, that
Okay.
I study.
Can you give the people a place to start?
Hmm.
What is one book that you would recommend
Mm,
for everyone out there who may not be heavy readers? Give them a place to start to
yeah.
gain this same
Hmm.
attitude that you have, to be able to be as inspired as you are. Where can they go? What's one
Yeah.
book that you would recommend?
Um, I'll give one contemporary and one old school.
Okay.
So if we're gonna go old school, I would definitely, instead of books, I'll just name a few authors because the books are challenging.
Okay.
Because there's just so many great ones. But if we're gonna go old school, I would definitely start with a James Baldwin, a Richard Wright, um, a Zora Neale Hurston, um, an Alice Walker, a Maya Angelou. Um, those are going to be some really great authors that just give you a great perspective, a creative perspective of the Black experience in America.
Okay.
So from them, you're going to get both fiction and nonfiction.
Okay.
But either way, I think they all capture. You have your W.E.B. Du Bois, your Booker
Absolutely.
T. Washington,
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're gonna give you some really great perspective. If you're gonna go contemporary, um, I would one of my favorites is Jesmyn Ward. She has a book, um, Salvage the Bones, and that really changed that opened the door for me when it came to reading fiction, African American fiction, and it being fun.
Okay.
As far as contemporary works go,
Absolutely.
I discovered her towards the middle of my college experience because, again, up until then, it was mostly nonfiction that I was reading, more theoretical pieces, and it was real heavy. Yeah, it was real heavy. Heavy in this sense of um, I had mentioned that the Black experience in America, it can sometimes be traumatic going back and reading some of those things and learning about some of those things. So definitely trigger warning, prepare yourself if you go back and read some of that stuff. So with Jesmyn, her work really opened the door of like, oh, Black literature can still, capture the Black experience in America in a way that doesn't feel so heavy. I can still laugh and be entertained in a way that doesn't feel so heavy. So yeah, Jesmyn Ward if you're gonna go contemporary.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
And also Kennedy Ryan. Yes, I was introduced to Kennedy Ryan this year. I am not
Who is Kennedy Ryan?
Kennedy Ryan, she is an author, primarily romance, is her genre. And I am not a romance girly, but I read her Skyland series this year. The first part is Before I Let Go, which is like a second chance romance, and then the second installment of that series is This Could Be Us, and then the third one is coming out in 2025, and it's a three.
You're on the wait list.
Listen, put me in the running, okay? Again, like it's like when new sneakers are coming out, like I'm right there at the front, like waiting, like I need this new drop. But yeah, she is also a contemporary artist that I think is just doing a phenomenal work in the literary field.
All right, all right. What do you hope to get out of this? Yeah. What do you want people to get out of Insomnia Books?
Yeah, so what I hope to get out of it, I'm really big on creating an experience in everything that I do, whether it's running this bookstore, any of the businesses that I do, that I have, whether it's a family gathering and spending time with friends. Like, I'm just really big on creating an experience and a vibe that makes people feel welcome, that makes people feel safe, that makes people feel seen. And so with the bookstore specifically, my goal is just to really curate a space where people can enjoy reading and enjoy books. Because to your point earlier, literacy is so important, and it's not the only way that we can get knowledge, but it is one of the most vital avenues. And so whether it be reading for education or reading for fun, I hope that my hope is that I can create a space where people find the joy in it, where they get just as excited as I do about reading. And then, in that process, I through running this business, I've also been exposed to the challenges when it comes to literacy in our community, in the Black community. And my hope is that if I can just play a small role in improving what literacy looks like in the Black community, then sign me up for the challenge.
Okay.
But that's what I hope to get out of this.
Well, let's segue into that. Speak to some of the challenges you've had to endure on this journey.
Yeah, some of the challenges that I found, like when I was doing a lot of the market research to find out who my target customer is, and I was building what some people in marketing might call like a customer persona or a customer avatar. When you do that, you're conducting research to find out, to identify the patterns in your customer base, right? And I found little to no research on Black people not only buying power when it came to books, but also research that spoke to the numbers and the rates at which we are reading. And that was quite alarming to me. there's a lot of research out there on the rates when it comes to the K through 12 system.
Okay.
So children, but when it came to adults, what are Black women reading? What are Black men reading? What are we buying mostly? Again, there was little to no research. I found a little bit of research overseas, but not much here in America, and so that was a challenge for me as a business owner, trying to figure out the buying and spending pattern of my customers. And then since I've been in business, um, doing different markets and just talking with people that look like me, Black women in particular, you know, they'll come up and they'll pick a book and they'll look and they'll tell me, man, I really want to buy this, but I don't have enough time to read. I work 2 jobs. I have to take care of my kids. And that to me just kind of was, and I've heard that several times where Black women have come up to me and say, like, I just don't have the time to read because I work and I take care of my family. And to me, what that did was show me that reading is kind of a luxury and a privilege for some. And that shouldn't be the case. So that showed to me that like accessibility is important when it comes to books, but also, what is our day-to-day look like that limits our opportunities to read, because the interest is there, but just due to work, due to taking care of your family, or even financial challenges, people might not have that access to enjoy reading like others may have.
What you're doing is really powerful, man.
Thank you.
You're bridging the lane, that's the gap. That's
and it's not just me out here either. There are so many Black-owned bookstores across the country that are doing this same work.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm a part of the Black Bookstore Coalition.
Okay.
And it's a coalition of all the Black-owned bookstores across the country, and even here in Virginia, you have Resist Booksellers in Petersburg. You have the Book Bar RVA that's here in Richmond. You have Mahogany Books that's not too far. They're in DC. And and so we have a lot of great Black-owned businesses, Black-owned bookstores that are doing this same great work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. Got to check some of them out too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, speak to some of your events you got coming up.
Yeah.
What can we expect to see you at?
Yeah. So I have one more coming up. It'll be November 2nd at the Moxie Hotel in downtown Richmond. You can catch me there from 12 to 4. And then for the winter and fall months, I'll actually be working on a few book clubs that Insomnia will have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll be working on that. So again, as I shared earlier, my goal is to keep Black stories alive through books, community, and storytelling. And so with that, the selling of books, with community, establishing my book clubs and really curating space for a community around books. And then storytelling, I'm actually working on a few storytelling projects through the bookstore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's been super exciting. And really with the storytelling piece, it was very important for me with this business to create an avenue for me to have fun and for me to create. Okay. Because I feel like as a business owner, things can be very stressful and things can just be very heavy when it comes to the day to day. And so for me, it was super important with this business venture to have an avenue where I could create, because I love to create. I love to create. And so I'm very excited about the storytelling projects that we're working on, because I get to just have fun.
Do we get a sneak peek?
Yeah, okay. So one of them is an animated project.
Okay.
Yeah, an animated project. That's probably the most that I could get.
Okay, I'll take it.
And we're looking at my production team. We're looking at 2025 as a release date. Okay. But the most that I give is that it is an animated project.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Right here on EBO, I'll take it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, congratulations.
Thank you. We've been working on it for like a year now. Animation takes time.
I don't even know. So.
Yeah, it takes time. And so some other things that are coming up that you can look forward to is we will be having a donation drive for this winter. Yeah, and so we're looking at different organizations that we can donate books to for the holiday season, and so that's something that people can also be on the lookout for.
Let us know how we can help.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so y'all can find me on all socials at InsomniaBookCo. Again, that's at InsomniaBookCo. InsomniaBookCo. And you can also visit my website, InsomniaBookCompany.com. Again, that's InsomniaBookCompany.com.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. There you have it, folks. I'm your man, Scooter. This is Everything Black Owned. Riqui, InsomniaBookCo. We out.
Peace.
That was dope.
Thank you.